I'm author Linda Hamilton, and you're listening to the Incoherent Fangirl Podcast.
Welcome to the Incoherent Fangirl.
Where this week's guest has been literally years in the making, and I'm so excited.
I'm Mandy of Virgin River, California.
I'm Karen from Salt Lake City, Utah.
Uh-oh. Maybe we're close.
I
I don't know geography. Don't ask me.
I think they might touch, or maybe it's on the other side of Nevada.
I don't think Virgin River's a real place.
No, but I mean like California. California and Utah?
Oh, no, I just meant the cities.
Oh, the cities? Oh, I
I
have no
thought
idea.
Nevada was in the middle.
That's what I was saying. I was like, I think there's Nevada and then Utah. Geography.
I
We're
thought
good at
Egypt
this.
was up near Saudi Arabia. I'm an idiot. You can't ask me these things.
I don't know.
You can't ask me geography.
Geography confuses me.
No, I don't like that.
Mm-mm. Something else that I don't like in our timeline, it is March 26th, which
Ugh.
it's my mom's birthday, which is not the thing that I don't like. But
Happy birthday, Mom.
happy birthday, Mom. But in y'all's timeline, it's April 3rd. How are we in April? That's confusing.
That does seem really weird, and I don't think I love it.
I'm very confused by
I
that.
do kind of love it. I'm ready for winter and spring to be over.
That's true.
Bring
You
on the
are you
summertime.
are a summer girly.
Yeah, bring on the summertime. I don't want to have to put on another layer to go outside anymore. I'm over it.
We just went through a heat wave, so I'm like, I'm not ready for summer. I
I
was
would love it. I'd
dying.
love a good heat wave right now. I mean, it was like
Yes.
in the 80s a few days
Uh,
ago.
I think some places hit the hundreds
I
recently.
would love that
It
dream. A
was,
dream.
mm-mm. I
A
was
dream.
dying. I was dying. I was like, I've got too much boob sweat for that.
Yeah, I live with it. And you will never hear me complain about the heat because I complain so much about the cold, and I'm not going to be a hypocrite. So like, I complain a lot about winter. I will never complain about summer.
You do, you do. My
Yeah.
daughter asked me the other day, Mom, can we go somewhere in the winter where there's snow? And I'm like,
Why?
you are my child. Okay.
I mean, we went to Rochester, New York a few Decembers ago, and it was really cool. So,
I used to live in the snow and I didn't mind that. I actually found myself quite comfortable,
I
which
thought she was gonna
surprised me.
say like, can we go somewhere in the winter that has like sun and sand and
No, she wanted to go to the snow because she's
oh,
never been to snow. And I'm like, I get it. I
bless
get it.
her.
This week in fangirling, what'd you do, Mandy?
Not a ton of anything interesting. The show husband was out of town last weekend. It was my first time home alone without Georgie.
Mm.
So I tried to keep myself busy and keep my mind off of it. I did a lot of deep like spring cleaning and like minor home improvements. Like I replaced some old vacuums, got a new rug in my kitchen and did some kitchen decor. And I made my sister meet me so that I didn't have to go like shopping alone. And I pulled up with like kids lemonade from Dutch Bros. One of them had boba for my niece, and then my nephew is two, and I was worried. He had boba in Disney, but I
Mhm.
just like I didn't want him to choke
Yeah.
or like get confused and swallow it. He's little, so I just got him regular because I want them to know. I want them to be like Mimi in that Mimi's going to show up with a sweet treat if we have to run errands, and we stop and get a sweet treat if I don't show up with them.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned last week before last that the show husband took my nephew to see like the aquarium while we were riding Soarin' at Disney. And now his new favorite thing in the whole world is manatees. So
Oh.
we're going through Ross and he's just like walking like a 2-year-old, like he's a dinosaur or whatever. And then he just turns around and he goes, manatees. Like it's the greatest thing that has ever happened. And my sister said that's his favorite thing to talk about is book and manatees,
Oh
book,
my goodness.
manatees and rays and shark and fish. They took them to, do you have Bass Pro Shop where you are?
Yeah.
Okay, they took him. The Easter Bunny was at Bass Pro, and so they took the whole family over there to take photos. And they have a big aquarium, and they had like alligator gar or whatever they are, like they're fish. And he's just like manatees, manatees. So I had to mention the manatees because we're rapidly becoming a manatee fandom household family.
Valid.
I mean, our house and my sister's house is manatee houses. I did binge season 7 of Virgin River. I can't say much because we're 7 seasons in at this point.
Right.
It's a small town. A woman moves there from LA after she loses her husband and her baby. I will give a trigger warning for this show. There's fertility issues, infant loss, stillbirth, lots of trauma. But it's so like heartwarming at the same time. Like some of the drama gets very soapy where it's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening too. But then it's very heartfelt as well. So it's very cozy.
Yeah.
There was a very traumatic ending where it's flashing between 2 characters, and one is like everything is happening. It's all happening finally. And this one, something horrible is happening, and they leave you both like before like it officially
Mm-hmm.
what's supposed to happen to both of them happens, and it's just like
Oh
I might
no.
die. I might die if the bad thing actually happens. I might die.
Oh
Because this is like
no.
a fan favorite character that looks like something really bad is happening. They always leave us in a horrible, horrible cliffhanger.
Oh joy. Love that.
Yeah.
Stephanie
The,
Garber.
yes. Yes. Um, okay, so that I did that, and then the night before my husband was supposed to be home, it's like
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't fall asleep because I stay up really late on the weekends and then regret it Sunday night. It's like 1:30 and I'm laying there in the dark, and all of a sudden it feels like the world just goes whoosh.
Oh.
Like I out of nowhere, like I grabbed the bed because I thought like I don't know what I thought. I don't know if I thought there was an earthquake or what, but like I felt the world move. Vertigo.
Mm.
So I spent 2 days with vertigo. My mom had to take me to the med stop. I'm fine. But like I needed antivert and some antibiotics for some stuff that was going on causing the vertigo. That sucked. So I didn't get to do a lot of fandom stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yesterday I did get to go meet up with a friend who was in our internet cult with us.
I
So I got
saw
to have
that.
dinner with Shannon. We met in Covington, which is the setting of Mystic Falls in the Vampire
Oh,
Diaries.
okay.
And it's also the setting of, I don't remember the name of the town, in Sweet Magnolias on Netflix, which is another show that is delicious, wholesome drama. We ate at the Mystic Grill, which I've never eaten at, even though I've been to Covington several times, which is the restaurant in the Vampire Diaries, and at Sullivan's in Sweet Magnolias. We laughed so hard about the women's bathroom because like every visible inch of space was Team Damon, Team Stefan. I took
Oh
photos
man.
of like my household is Team Klaus and
Yeah.
Team Bonnie deserved better. Like
Mm-hmm.
then that will not change. And so we made Josh go into the men's room. Well, he had to use the bathroom, but he came back and he was like, "There's like 4 tags in the men's room, and they're all Damon." I was like, "Thanks for reporting back." But it was nice to hang out with Shannon, her husband, and her kids. I don't want to name them because
Right.
privacy. But her kids were so much fun. I got in trouble for not bringing my niece to hang out with her daughter. And her son is, I'm convinced, a genius. Like he
Mm.
was talking about physics and science and space and all of these theories, and we were just like, because he's young, and we were like,
Yeah.
you're a, I don't know, you're like a prodigy.
Okay, Sheldon Cooper.
Yeah, he was fascinating.
Oh
So
my
we had
goodness.
fun. On the way home, we kept listening to Unravel Me by Tahara Mafi. Joshy got to the monologue, and I'm like sitting there quoting it like as Aaron is saying it. I'm like, I want to be her best friend. And he's unimpressed. And he said Kenji is the only thing keeping him going. And I said, shut up. You don't know good characters.
Hey, don't talk
So
bad about Kenji.
I love
He's
Kenji, but
wonderful.
Kenji is wonderful. He ain't Aaron Warner. He never got over Aaron Warner. And then I've almost finished The Fourth Wife by Linda Hamilton, which we'll talk about later.
Yay.
What did you do this week?
So this week was packed with events. Starting off with Stacey Lee, the book launch for her newest novel, Heirs of Nowhere. She was in conversation with Stephanie Garber. It was smack dab in the middle of a heat wave, and there was no air conditioning, and there were so many people. It was so hot.
Packed out.
I was so sweaty and gross, but it was very lovely to see Stephanie and Stacey again. If you ever get the chance to see Stephanie Garber and Stacey Lee in conversation with each other, it is so funny. They are
Go.
best friends, and so they just it's like sitting and listening and having a gab sesh, like truly, because they are just like, and you learn so much too, because they're both just so wonderful writers. And it was such a good time. So much fun. Also, it was really funny because Stacy's son was there, and they did a like a round of Kahoot, and he was running it. And so he introduced himself, and I think it's okay to say his name because he introduced himself.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Hi, my name is Bennett Lee, and you may know me as New York Times bestselling, or as the son of New York Times bestselling author Stacey Lee, and also the godson of New York Times bestselling author Stephanie Garber." And I was just like, "You understand your audience, okay?"
Yes.
It was very cute. He was very proud of them both, so it was very cute. So that was on Tuesday, and then the following night was Lauren, who was on tour for the first time for the Fortune Flip, and so she had a Bay Area stop, which I like to believe I had a hand in. And by had a hand in, I mean Estelle sent me a message and was like, "Do you know anything about the store?" I was like, "Yes, I know a lot about the store." And so she was like, "Okay, I'm sending this email then." I'm like, "Great, I love it. Does that mean what I think it means?" She said, "Yes." So I've been very excited. It was so much fun. My friend Cindy came to town, and was spending the night because she lives in Sacramento and didn't want to drive home afterwards. And so we got some dinner beforehand, and then we went to the event. Lauren was in conversation with Erin Carlson, who's written a lot of like nonfiction. One of them I did read. It was about the movie. Oh God, the one with the why am I not A League of Their Own? I was like the female baseball team. And it was really excellent, very clearly, very well researched and all of that. And she has several, and I cannot for the life of me remember off the top of my head what else, but she has a couple others, and she was such a great conversation partner. Can officially say it now because it has been announced, but Lauren did mention at the event her next book, which is the Santa Claus Con. It comes out on October 27th, and let me tell you, I may or may not have seen the cover, and it is so good. So good.
I'm so excited for
I'm
her.
so excited. And she hit USA Today bestseller list.
Of course she did.
Which fucking finally.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. I literally saw it as I got into my car leaving work yesterday, and I like happy cried the whole way home. I was so happy for her. So it was really cool to be able to see her. And her husband was there too, and he is always so much fun to like chat with while, she's doing her thing. And it was fun. It was like I saw several people that I've like haven't seen in a while, so that was fun too. And then on Friday, this isn't an event, but I took Roma to the vet on Friday, and he had to get some blood drawn for, just reasons. And he had to get so much blood drawn that they had to go into 3 different legs. So he came
Oh.
walking out with like 3 of his legs bandaged, and he looked so pitiful. And he was like very clearly like looking for me, and I was like, "Hi, baby." And he saw me and ran, booked it straight for me. I picked him up, and then he like buried his head in my shoulder. He was like, "Get me out of here, Mom."
Mommy, I need a puppuccino from the local coffee shop.
Oh my gosh.
right
So
now.
then I stopped at McDonald's on the way home to get breakfast because it was early, and I was like, "You know what? Can you guys give me a cup of whipped cream?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's just going to be an extra charge." I'm like, "I don't care. I just need a cup of whipped cream." And so I get up to the front, and for some reason, they had put whipped cream on top of my sweet tea, which was not what I
No,
asked
they
for.
didn't. No, they didn't.
They did.
Ew.
They put whipped cream on top of my sweet tea.
Who stood there and was like, this is what the person asked for?
Right. Right. That makes so
Ugh.
much sense, right? I was like, no, that's not what I mean. I wanted a cup of whipped cream separate.
Yeah.
So finally, we did get that. We got home and I gave it to him. He stuck his entire head was in the cup. His entire head.
Sweet
And
baby.
and he like got stuck in there, but he was so happy because it was just all whipped cream. It was so cute.
Georgie got stuck in a Pringles can one time. 'Cause we were letting him like sniff, like there was nothing in it
Yeah.
but like crumbs. We were letting him sniff, and like I have a photo where it's just his little head in this long Pringles can. It was when he was a puppy.
Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, he fully like he just stuck his whole head in. It kind of looked like a muzzle on his head, but he was
Yeah.
like so happy. He was like, I'm gonna lick all this up. And then he
Don't
went
worry, I
into
got
like
this.
he went into like a sugar coma afterward and was just like the whole day was just like, nope. I had a lot
I'm
of blood
done.
loss and I had a ton of sugar, so I'm just gonna pass out for the whole day.
Yeah,
And I
I'm
was like,
done.
he was good, but he's all better now. But it was
Sweet
very
boy.
funny. Yeah, it was a good time. In terms of books, I finished reading Dragonborn by Struan Murray. So this is a middle grade book. It was for my daughter's middle grade book club, and sometimes I'll grab like the audiobook and we'll listen to it whenever we're in the car. And so that's how I end up reading middle grade, which is really nice
I
actually.
like that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's like something we can do together, and also it's like I would also like to know like what's going on in middle grade because like
Yeah.
I read so much YA and adult, like I'd like to go back to that time as well. So it's really fun for me too.
Yeah.
So you have a young girl whose father has passed away and whose mother is extremely overprotective and to the point of like overbearing. Like she's got her schedule down to the minute of every day. Like she is really intense. So this girl finds out that she's actually a dragon. And she gets whisked away to the secret island in order to learn how to be a dragon. And as she is struggling to kind of figure out how to turn into a dragon, because the dragon's there, she's just never actively turned into the dragon. There's the threat of this war with the humans that's kind of looming over them, as well as this like ancient evil that threatens to resurface in a form that absolutely no one will see coming, including me. I had no clue. No clue. We were getting to the very end, and I looked at her, my daughter, and she looked at me. I'm like, who do you think it is? And he's like, I have no idea. I'm like, me either. And then I was like, oh my God, it's this person. And then it was not that person. And then it was, oh my God, no, it's not that person. And then I was like, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. So that was fun. And there is a sequel coming. And I looked at my daughter and I'm like, the sequel comes out in October. Do you want to read it? She's like, obviously.
Duh.
That was very cute.
Duh, Mom.
I did a reread of The League of Gentlewomen Witches by India Holton, which I've talked about on the podcast before, as well as The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. So I won't really get into those because I've already talked about them in depth. But I just want to mention them because they're really fun and I think everybody should read them. And then I read Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan, which is the final book in the Skyland series. This one follows Hendrix, who is a badass. She's super secure in herself. She knows that she doesn't need a man. And she also knows that she never wants to be a mom. She's very, very happy as the rich auntie. Speaking of
Dream.
aunties coming up with a sweet treat, like aunties coming up with Chanel is what's happening here.
Nobody's dusty anybody. First of all, don't compete where you don't compare. None of their other aunts or doing it like me. But yeah, show up with Chanel.
No, Hendrix is loving life. She's killing it. She is doing great. She is a powerhouse in business. She's like manager for like social media personalities among other people, as well as one of the co-owners of a new venture capital firm that primarily finances and funds Black women entrepreneurs because of course they should. Um, and she is about to enter her like television era as an executive producer, and she's really excited about that. The only problem is that she's very peskily attracted to her producing partner's ex-boyfriend, the tech mogul Maverick Bell, and it's very important to note that one, he's not a billionaire yet. Okay? He makes this very clear. I am not a billionaire yet. But the other thing that's important to note is that Maverick and his girlfriend broke up because he didn't want any more kids, and she decided 3 years into the relationship, after they had already talked about the fact that he didn't want more kids, that now she wants kids. And he's like, that's not going to work for me because I don't.
Yeah.
And she was in this relationship thinking that she could change him. And he's like, listen, I do love you, but that is a deal breaker for me.
Yeah, especially if it was talked about.
Exactly. It's not like, he's like, you've known who I am and what I wanted this whole time. Like, I didn't hide anything from you.
Yep.
You just decided that you could change me, and that's not cool.
No.
And so yeah, Hendrix and Mav are now kind of circling each other and trying to figure out, like, they have this attraction, but they're both like, she's like, I can't do anything because that would be messy for my professional life. And he's like, I can't do anything because I don't want things to be messy for her professional life, which green flag behavior, okay? Green flag behavior. But then the ex-girlfriend is in the presses because she's got a new boyfriend, yet another tech mogul. And so Mav is like, okay, if she's out with somebody else, that means I'm allowed to.
Yeah, I'm free.
And Hendrix is out here like, can I though? Is that like girl code? They weren't really friends, and so it's a whole thing. But he is a green flag of a man. Truly. Truly such a green flag of a man. Spoiler alerts, kind of. So like skip ahead maybe 30 to 45 seconds, but he gives up the thing that he was working for his entire life because it was going to be a problem for her, because he knew that he could give this up because it was affecting her, and he didn't want it to affect her, and he was like, you know what, you are more important to me than that. And it was just like, okay. It was so cute.
Love it.
And of course we have Soledad and Yasmin from the first two books making many appearances in this one, and it was so fun to see, like, this girl gang. Love them so much.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. It's Kennedy Ryan. It's killer. There is a plot line in there that is kind of pulled from real life, in which there was people who were suing like a venture capital firm that was awarding small business grants to specifically Black women-owned businesses. They were like minimal, and they were suing because that was racial discrimination and trying to use affirmative action, like, to be like, no, you can't do that, even though all these policies were put in place in order to uplift the Black people who were traditionally marginalized. And so she did include that in the book, and I thought it was really well done and really well incorporated into it. And I just love Kennedy Ryan. I love her. Yeah. She's so great at like making sure that you're like learning something and being cognizant of the real world ties at the same time. And amazing. 10 out of 10. I am about halfway through my reread of The Fourth Wife by Linda Hamilton, which we will talk about shortly. So that was my week.
Do you have a fictional boyfriend this week?
I want to say Maverick Bell, but I also can't say Maverick Bell because the way that he only has eyes for Hendrix, he would never. But he is a green flag of a man. And I also just love, like I said before, the girl gang, Yasmin, Soledad, Hendrix. May everybody have that kind of friendship and love. Like
Yeah.
love. Amazing. Sold. Yeah. How about you?
I listened
I
to
ask?
Unravel Me, so Aaron Warner
Like, should
yet
I
again.
ask?
But also I put Klaus Michelson because he was your
Right.
first love. I intend to be your last, however long it takes. Ugh. Please, sold, done.
I can't remember what book I read, but there was somebody whoever the author was, very clearly took issue with the Vampire Diaries the same way that you do, because there was something very similar to that line in the book, and
And they
it was like
actually
the
saw
same,
it through.
and they saw it. It was like the same kind of vibes, and they saw it through, and I was like, you.
I
I
see
know
you and you
I know
see
what's
us.
happening here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could remember the book, but I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe it'll pop up in my brain one day. But yeah,
Yeah.
I
If it
remember
does, tell
thinking
me.
that. I remember thinking that when I read it, and I was like, "Oh, I need to tell Mandy," and then immediately forgot to tell Mandy.
You're fired.
Oh, such is my life, okay? That's just who I am as a person. That sound means we have an intruder alert.
I'm so excited.
I might cry. I'm so excited. Um, this is one of my very good friends. I've known her since we were practically children ourselves. My former college roommate, Linda Hamilton, is here. I have to clarify, the author, Linda Hamilton. She wrote The Fourth Wife. It's coming out soon. We're so excited.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much
We're
for being
so
here.
excited.
We can't wait to talk about this. This has been literally years in the making. I feel like we've been waiting for this moment, and it's finally here. So yay.
Yes. And I have to say that Karen was not only my roommate, she was one of my bridesmaids. And I did make her wear one of the most awful dresses on earth. So she forever wins.
Listen,
Oh,
here's the thing. I think that the dresses were cute.
They were so cute, but like looking back, I'm like, whoa. Why did
think for
choose
the
All right, I have to see.
I'll find
Yeah.
It might be on my Facebook, actually. It might be one of like my old profile pictures on Facebook, but I'll find it.
Yeah.
They're
I thought-
very cute, like 1950s kind of
They're
like
I think they
silhouette,
fit
but
the
they're like-
vibe.
but they're like this weird pale yellow with like
Blue trim.
trim and
like
they
a
have
light
sleeves
blue.
and like high neck because it was a Mormon wedding. So they're very
Oh,
it's
But
very fun.
They were cute.
I'm
I thought
excited. I'm
They were
excited to
cute
see.
for the time.
they were cute. They were cute, and they fit the fairy tale vibe that like
They
your whole
did.
wedding was.
Oh.
All right. Sorry, we're like catching up. Okay, so first question we always ask is always, we think sometimes the hardest question for an author to answer is, can you give us the elevator pitch for the book?
Yes. The Fourth Wife is a Mormon Gothic about a polygamous family in 1882 Utah living in a haunted house.
Perfect.
So good. Perfect.
I
Amazing.
practiced that one.
Where did this story come from? Like what birthed it in your brain?
So I grew up, I was raised Mormon, and I come from polygamous ancestors. And so does my husband, pretty much everyone you know that's been like a Mormon for generations probably has polygamy in their family tree. And so I was just very curious about polygamy, and I felt this urge that I wanted to write a historical fiction about polygamy because this is this really interesting thing that comes from my own, family, generational trauma, and all those fun things. And so I decided to go look up my own ancestors, like closely for the first time, and I discovered that I have a like third time great grandfather who married a woman named Mary. And then 3 years later, he married Sarah, who is Mary's biological sister.
Ooh.
And this is apparently, that was my reaction to it. I was like, what? But this was apparently very common, I found out. There was a belief that if you married sisters or mother-daughters, that was another one that happened.
Oh.
I know, right?
Oh.
That they would get along better because they were family members. I kind of feel like that probably wasn't true. But
No, I'll throw my
I feel
sister
like,
around in ways that I
yeah,
won't
I
throw
feel
other
like
people
right?
around.
that would make
Yeah.
it worse.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. But yeah, so I was curious. I was like, okay, so what is this story that's going on here? And Mormons love genealogy, so they love family history. So there's just like online, there's like a profile for him on like, the ancestry sites and everything. And there's just oodles of information, all these things he wrote. And then his wives both have just like short autobiographies that they wrote, and neither one of them mentions their marriage. Neither one of them mentions that they were married to their sister's husband. And I was just like, what is happening? How can you have this? Like, polygamy was clearly a huge part of your life and you did not even include it.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, I have to find out more. And so I went on huge deep dive of polygamy and the history of it in the 19th century. And I learned so many things, so many things. Predominantly that it was just bad news. I mean, that's probably obvious, but it is structured under this very patriarchal system. And there was so much abuse, poverty, abandonment, like all of these issues, jealousies, struggles, money issues, children issues, like there's all these things, and they all just kind of get like swept under the rug in order to promote this really happy, shiny picture of Mormonism, even in
Right.
that day. Like it's so I was just like, how does this happen? And how can I give these women a voice? How can I talk about all these real things that I learned that no one ever told me in Sunday school growing up?
Right.
And how can I make them, real for people? And it was it was so funny. I was actually sitting in a church meeting when I was like, it's a gothic. Like the spirit, I don't know, the Lord came down and he told me, tell thy story as a gothic, because I was like, this is a horror story. This is really what it is. It's a horror. And so it has all the very classic gothic tropes. It's got the creepy house, it's got the sentient feelings of like inanimate objects and ghosts and things that go bump in the night, and every single one of those is just a metaphor for patriarchy and
Yeah.
oppression.
Mhm.
Oh man.
It's so interesting to like think about it through a modern lens because obviously we look at it and we're like, oh, mm. But this was stuff that people actually
Like
fully
truly
truly
believed and
believed
like
in.
yeah, it was their whole
And
life.
that's so crazy. And I love that it's coming out in like, I mean, it is a fiction novel, but like it's still something that people are gonna get to kind of see a bit.
Yeah.
So you are a historian yourself, and so I know that you are also working on, a master's program, or did you finish? You're not finished. Am I
I'm working on
confused?
my
You're-
thesis right now. Yeah,
Okay.
thesis
And
year.
so I'm curious to see if the research that you were doing, did that lead you to go down that path, or had you already planned what you were going to study before you kind of deep dived for this book? I love like the like initial push to things, like the the
Mhm.
the beginning of things.
So I really wanted to I had this like feeling and this desire to get my master's degree and study um religious history and Mormon history way back when I was in undergrad. And I kind of was like, I can't do that because I'm going to be a good Mormon wife. And so I shelved that dream. And then when I was writing this book, I was like, I miss sitting here and nerding out about history stuff. I miss looking at documents and writing about it and, coming to all these conclusions and all these things. And so it was a direct inspiration for me to apply to go back to grad school. And when I did apply, so I go to Sam Houston State University through their online program. And their online program is all run by the staff, the faculty, the professors. So it's, a very professional program. And I really wanted to go there for two reasons. One, they had a thesis program online. Most schools online don't offer thesis. And two, one of their professors is Dr. Benjamin Park, who is one of the leading Mormon history scholars. So I basically emailed him and I was like, if I get into this school, will you let me write a thesis on polygamy under you? And he was like, sure. And so I got in, and that's what I'm writing about now, is I'm writing about a kind of a different era of polygamy and a different facet of it. But I'm like looking at some specific women who sort of like rebelled against it, but then later became polygamous. And like, what does that say about like identity and their choices,
Yeah.
kind of things?
I'm
Oh, I
like I'm
love that.
so fascinated because I'm like you, like I I just got my bachelor's and I just like stopped there because I don't really know why. But like if I could be paid to be a professional student for the
Yeah.
rest of my life, like I would love nothing more than to just take classes
To
all the time
learn.
just to
Oh,
learn.
yes.
So part of the story was inspired by like things you learned about your own ancestry. Um, what type of research did you do into your own genealogy? And then this could be like your family or in your thesis studies. And obviously, I don't want you to say anything that you want to keep private. But was there anything that was like really surprising that you found in your research that you were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this?
So for my own family history, there wasn't really too many surprises other than kind of that initial like, what, this dude was married to sisters. Um, because most the history is pretty much all laid out very easily for me, because it is a direct Mormon line, and so that work has all been done many times over by all the family history fanatics in Mormonism.
Yeah.
And so nothing there super like surprised me. I do think though that learning about polygamy in general there were so many surprise moments in that, because just learning that the amount the amount of women that lived in poverty or had to support themselves because their husband, right, if he's got four wives and most of the time they don't live together. That was another thing I learned, that most polygamous families did not live together. You have these families, and then he's like, okay, I got to go over here and spend a few weeks with this person. And then I got to go spend a few weeks with this person, or like I'm going to live a year with this person, or maybe this one's my favorite and I'm going to spend all my time with her. And so a lot of women just didn't have access to finances, they didn't have access to their own husband. And it's this interesting thing, I think, when I think about modern day Mormonism and my experience with it, growing up in my life, that Mormonism is very much like this staunch traditional gender roles of like man provider, woman stay home with children,
Right.
And and so but in the 19th century they were nowhere near living that. Almost all of these women were independent. They had to be, because
Wow.
their husbands, like, physically it was impossible for him to take care of all of them.
Right.
That's something I would never have thought about, even though it
Right.
Yeah.
makes perfect sense. Like one household is hard enough to support, let alone if you've got four, five, multiple different households
Yeah. That's
financially, like
oof.
they probably were living in such poverty, and it's never dawned on me before.
Yeah, it never had occurred to me that that was a real issue. And I'm all for women being independent and for women,
Yeah.
being able to
Right.
do their own jobs. The other really weird thing that I love to tell people this, because they're like, what? Because it still doesn't make sense to me. But Mormon women in the 19th century there was actually a very strong suffragist feminist movement.
Yes.
Yeah.
This in the book, I was like, what?
What do
I didn't
you
think that
mean?
would be allowed.
Yeah.
Yes. So Mormon women, so actually Utah is the first territory where women actually voted. So Wyoming got the right first, Utah got it right after, and Utah women actually cast their votes physically first. Um, and it's kind of this weird thing, because you have these women who are very staunchly feminist, for their time and for their era, and very interested in like suffrage and gaining these rights. And a huge part of that is because they want to have the right to be polygamists. They
Oh.
want to
Okay.
actively vote in their own disinterest, or what we would in modern day from our lens would
Right.
see
Yeah.
as
Right.
voting in their own disinterest. But at the time, they're like, this is my way of life, this is my faith, this is
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And there's a very famous feminist by name Emmeline B. Wells, who I reference in the
Mhm.
book.
Mhm.
I had to reference her because she was kind of like one of the leaders of this suffrage movement, hanging out with Susan B. Anthony, making all of these connections with other feminists and suffragists across the nation. And she would like write these really impassioned speeches about how women need to stand up and get the right to vote so that they can support their, their families and their husbands and their polygamy and their faith. And then she would go home and write in her journal about how much she hated polygamy.
Oh,
Oh,
So it's this weird kind of dual thing that these women were living in. And I tried to capture that a little bit in the book. I couldn't go too deep into that juxtaposition because, the book has to go somewhere in a plot that's not that long.
right.
Uh,
right.
but that's why I have one of the sister wives is a suffragist because I
Yeah.
wanted to show like this existed. There were these women who were for their day, they would be called feminists and
That's
but they at
I
the
mean,
so
it
same
makes
time,
crazy.
sense. It's
It,
another thing that doesn't occur to you, but it makes sense because, like you said, they want to be able to vote for their polygamy, but that's what they've been raised
yeah.
is what is what God wants, what's their it's their duty. And so they're like, I have to fight for this and I have to have a voice to be
Yeah.
able to do this because that's what I'm told is what's the most important and the goal. And like, so they're fighting for their family, even
It's so
like you said, it's like
interesting.
in their
Yeah.
interest, but their disinterest.
Right. It's so interesting because it's such a like I feel like it's such a one-to-one to present day. There are so many women who are voting in their own disinterest right now. And it's
Yeah.
like, how does this well, this is how it happens because they grew up with all of this kind of shoved down their throats and they are like,
Yeah.
"No, that's correct."
That's what it's
Oh.
supposed to be.
yeah.
Um I'm curious why four? Because for me personally, in Chinese culture, four is a very
Oh,
unlucky number.
Oh.
So it makes sense for me. I'm like, oh, four. Obviously, it's very unlucky. She's the fourth wife. Bad things are going to happen. For me personally, that was like the first kind of portent. But I'm curious why you chose like four wives, if there was a reasoning behind that.
Well, that's interesting. I'm glad that works out so well then. Uh, honestly, I chose four because that felt like the right number. If I have to develop these characters, and if a big part of it, right, is if there's too many, that's too
mhm.
many characters for me to try to like write
Yes.
and have be coherent and be able to remember who's who.
Hmm.
So that's definitely a part of it. And another big part of it was that when I created each of the sister wives, the three main sister wives who already live in the house when Hazel comes, is I wanted them to each kind of represent a different viewpoint on polygamy. So we have, as I said, there's the suffragist sister. So you have this kind of interesting budding feminist sister. And then you have a very hardworking, devoted, like to the point where she is just angry all the time at everyone because she is so determined that she is going to save this family and get everyone to heaven, even if she has to like drag them behind her. Like that is her. She is
Yeah.
absolutely white knuckling with her faith on this institution. And then you have the first wife who's basically checked out. She's like, I'm in this system, I can't get out. And she just lives for the moments when she can make the other women scandalize because she says something scandalous or because she gets under her husband's skin. That's like
Hmm.
all she wants to do. And so I just thought it was interesting that you have these kind of different viewpoints on polygamy. And as Hazel enters as the newest fourth wife, she's kind of being told, this is what it is, this is what it is, this is what it is. And like they're trying to all kind of slowly get her on their side. And she's like, what do I do with all these relationships?
That
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
perfectly segues into the next question that I had written down was this book is single POV, but you get a lot of the personalities of the other wives still. How did you keep everyone's attitudes organized to make sure that this wife's character was consistent throughout for each of them?
So it was actually my agent that gave me a really good suggestion for this because we edited this book together for like a year before it went on submission. And overall the characters, were pretty good about kind of staying in place, but there was just something about the ending that just wasn't working and we could not figure it out. We're like, what is it about this book that's just not quite clicking? And so what she suggested I do is I read through the book only reading the chapters of each wife. So basically, I read the whole book from Abby's perspective. So I only read her chapters. And so I could see her trajectory and I could see if there was a moment where maybe she was acting out of character. And I was like, okay, it's obvious now when I read the book as her.
Right.
And when I did that, it was interesting because not only did it help me fix some of those little spots, right, where one character might be acting a little out of character, um, but also I figured out the ending. It like just sort of came. I was like, oh, that's what's wrong with the ending. And I was able to kind of fix it. And I sent
That's
it back to
so
my agent. And she's
cool.
like, oh, yes, obviously, that was it.
Oh,
But
That's
that's
so
that's
cool.
fun.
a little tidbit for any writers out there if you have multiple characters. It worked really well for me. So hopefully it will help you.
Yeah.
No, I never would think of that because that makes so much sense. But like, it's not something I would have actively been like, oh, no, I have to just be that person.
Mhm.
And then everything falls into place. So I love that.
Yeah.
Um, I had a question and then it just left my brain as you were talking.
Oh
I'm See,
no.
she has questions written down and I have them in my head and then my brain is like, "No, no, you're so silly. You can't do that."
I could
Um,
never.
I know. I should be better. I keep saying I'm going to write notes and then I forget. Um, I'm curious. So, for me, I everything I learned about Mormonism I learned from you. Just to be very clear, so everybody
Yeah.
knows, everything I learned about Mormonism I learned from Linda. So for me, like a lot of the things that were in this book, like they felt familiar to me. Like, you're talking about the garments, you're talking about the eternal families and things like that. Like those are things that I kind of knew. But I'm curious if you had any points in the story where you were like, how do I explain this to people who don't know what this is without
Yeah.
getting
Oh
too
my
like
gosh.
preachy explainy?
So many, so many. Like a big one is priesthood.
Mm.
Trying really hard to so like for most people in the world, priesthood equals like a priest, right?
Mhm.
It's like the priesthood is the brethren priests who take the vow and go to school and all that stuff. In Mormonism, priesthood is considered a power that is given to all men ages 11 and up. So like all the men hold the priesthood. They are all the priesthood power. And I tried really hard, and I'm hoping, I think it came off pretty well, hopefully,
Yeah.
that like the understanding that it's not like, so when I say that like she needs to obey the priesthood, that's not just like I'm obeying the priest. It's like I'm literally obeying my husband, my brother, my bishop, the apostles, the prophet, like all men hold the priesthood. All men are the priesthood in her world. And
Yeah.
so that gets kind of, that was a big concept of like I had to work that one a lot to make sure that that was understood, because that's a huge thing, is
Yeah.
understanding how much the priesthood, this concept of priesthood, holds over her in like oppression, right? Like
Yeah.
she has to make decisions to obey the priesthood. The other one, so another one that comes to mind that was this one's kind of funny is, I don't know if you caught it when you read it, but there's a scene where she sees the creepy ghost in the house and she thinks I should shake its hand. And
Love her.
this is a total Mormon Easter egg that I had to throw in. My agent was like, "What is happening? Why is she trying to shake a ghost's hand?" So I tried to like, I threw in like a little quick explanation sentence, like as the prophet told us to do. But every good little Mormon boy and girl grows up, or at least in my experience as a millennial. Maybe the younger generation isn't taught this anymore. I don't know. But like you are taught that one day, if you see an angel or like a spirit, you need to ask to shake their hand. Because they if they are really an angel and they're from God, they will say, I can't shake your hand. But if they are a devil impersonating an angel, they will try to shake your hand and you won't feel anything.
That's scary as all get
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
That's so
right.
Oh my
I'm
God.
sorry, you're teaching small children this.
It's no, like legitimately, I very much believe that one day in my life I would have to do this. Like I really thought as a kid, like, okay, like this has been emphasized to me multiple times. It's in the scriptures. Joseph Smith wrote this as like, this is the test. I like literally thought I was gonna have to do it one day. So I was like preparing, like, okay, shake my hand and like, And so I like had to add that Easter egg in of her when she sees the ghost and she's like, do I shake its hand? Like, what do I do here?
You know what? This is so, like in the South, you were raised that one day a gunman's going to come in the church and ask you if you believe in God. And
Oh
if you
my
say
God.
no, he's going to kill you. And if
Oh
you like, or,
my
like if you say no, God's going to turn away from you. And we were all terrified every Sunday that like
Oh my
is today the
God.
day that that someone's going to come in and shoot you, and if you deny God in the church, then he's going to what's
Oh,
I have heard
fear
that
mongering of
from
children.
evangelicals.
yeah.
Yes, I have many weird ones about that. So I was also told that one day I would have to walk to Missouri, which is Zion.
Is Missouri?
Yeah, if you didn't know, so more fun Mormon folklore. There's so much weird Mormon folklore. Because Joe Smith was just wild. He was just like, I think this is a fun idea now. I don't know what went through that man's brain. But he believed and taught that Missouri, the state of Missouri, is Zion, and Zion is the place where God can dwell, like on earth. When
Missouri.
when Jesus comes again, he's gonna go to Jackson County, Missouri. They're going to build a new Jerusalem there, and he's going to reign from Missouri, which was also the Garden of Eden.
Missouri.
Missouri, yeah.
I did see
Yeah.
Hosier in Missouri, so
Wait,
kind
is
of
that why our
resembles.
friend moved to Missouri? We have
Like,
a
Oh,
there are legit Mormons out there who move to Missouri because they feel prompted by the Spirit to like go get ready for the second coming. And I'm like, babe.
I just want the Garden of Eden to be a little bit prettier than Missouri. I fear. Like
It's called Adam on
Missouri.
Diamond. Apparently, it's pretty certain times of the year. I don't
Oh,
know, but I just
That's so
that is
funny.
not it, like folks. But yeah,
Oh, I love
I
it.
believed as a kid that I
Missouri.
was gonna have to walk there. That
To
like something was gonna.
walk.
I don't know where this particular rumor thing came from because it's not doctrinal, but like a lot of kids grew up hearing it that like some sort of cataclysmic thing was going to happen and all the Mormons were going to need to go back to gather in Missouri. And for some reason, we wouldn't have vehicles. And so we had to be like our ancestors and like pull hand carts. I I don't know. I spent a lot of time as a child pulling a hand cart as well. So like
Yeah.
I mean, it does give like Left Behind things where like one day if you're not good, you're
Yeah.
gonna look up and everyone else is gonna be gone.
we Mormonism has its own version of that because they don't believe in the rapture.
Mhm.
But there's a story in Mormon scriptures about the city of Enoch. And
Oh yeah,
apparently, the city of Enoch was so righteous that they were translated, meaning they were taken straight up to live with God. And so, like, I would be told stories as a kid of like, could you imagine if you were the one bad kid who decided to go fishing on Sunday and you come back and your entire town is gone?
you're like I'm not gonna go fishing on Sunday. I swear.
Yeah, right. And also,
I
there
promise.
is somewhere in Mormon folklore the belief that that's where the Gulf of Mexico comes from.
I love it.
I'm not laughing at people's religion. I'm not, but
The city of
it
Enoch
is.
was taken up and left the Gulf of Mexico,
That was a
I
really big
I
city.
love it.
right?
That was a really
That's
big city.
yeah. Oh
Wow.
my goodness. I love it.
I need you to tell us that you're going to write like 5 million gothic horrors about Mormon folklore because I need so much more. I'm fascinated.
Oh, I could talk for hours. Bigfoot is Cain, all sorts of stuff. Self, the white Lamanite, like everything.
I'm
I'm
going to have to
telling
tell my
you.
husband that one. He's going to love that one.
I, I don't know, man. Joseph Smith was just like, this sounds like a good idea. This must be right.
It is fascinating that he got so many people to just like that guy knows what he's talking about.
I, you
Like he was
know,
just one man.
and so we can talk more if you want to about my next project, but it does involve Joseph Smith and the early foundations of Mormonism. So you get a lot of magic folklore in it because
Oh.
The origin story of Mormonism, and some people believe that, and that is totally fine if you believe that. But basically, Joseph Smith was like a treasure digger who used a magic stone that he would put inside a hat and then look in it, and it would tell him where magic treasure was buried. And one day an angel came to him and told him that there was gold plates buried in a hill nearby. And so he went and he like dug up the gold plates, and then he like eventually translated them into the Book of Mormon.
Mhm.
And then the angel took the plates back to heaven. So,
So there's no plates.
so there's no plates, but they were like dug out of a hill. So it's kind of like very magical foundations to start with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like as part of Mormonism, you have to very literally believe that is true.
Yeah. I I've never been an organized religion girly. Like we would never practice any sort of religion. So I'm always so fascinated to hear any of this stuff. Which my college years were a great time.
Yeah.
I learned so much about
All of
Mormonism.
us.
Like
Guys,
I was
all of my
raised.
friends in college were Mormon.
Like as a kid, like because I think just because when you grow up in it, you're
Yeah.
told this story so many times did not phase me at all. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Joe Smith, he went and dug some gold plates out of a hill, and it ended up being an
Nobody
18th
else
book
saw
of
'em.
scripture. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of
like
course,
totally,
as one
why not?
does.
Angel told him where it was. He went and got it. And it just never occurred to me that was weird.
I feel the same. I was raised Episcopalian, which is, I always joke, it's like diet Catholic. And so like we do like communion where we eat the body and drink the blood and it's bread, and like we do wine. And like it never dawned on me until I was an adult that like this is an altar. This is a ritual. Is this
Yes.
is this witchcraft that we're doing? Because it kind of seems like witchcraft a little bit. Like Palm Sunday, we're gonna make palms, and then next year on Ash Wednesday, we're gonna burn those palm leaves to put a thing on our like.
Sounds
A
like
little
a ritual.
witchy.
I had the
ritualistic.
same realization a few years ago. I was like, this is like witchcraft.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it all kind of comes from the same thing.
Wait,
Yeah.
guys, is religion just witchcraft?
Yeah, pretty much on a big giant. Ours are like wood
Oh my
altars
gosh.
Yeah, like
with
there's
flowers everywhere. Like
so much of it is it comes, I mean, in my opinion, a lot of it has like the same foundational things. It's about transformation. It's about speaking things into existence, and like it follows a different path. It
yeah,
goes through a Christian God and a belief in that way, but
Yeah.
like chants,
yes.
chanting. You say this, we respond with this. We repeat this. We all sing the same words and say the same word. Like
I'm so
pretty
fascinated.
ritualistic. It really is.
I love it.
Yeah. It's kind of wild.
Yeah. And it's probably strange for for Karen, you're gonna need to go to like a church service and just stand in the back and observe.
I
It
need you to
probably is
understand,
really
Mandy.
crazy.
Actually, I need you to understand that for several Sundays in college, I went to a Mormon church service.
Was it like the
It was
strangest
3
thing for
hours
you?
long.
It was 3 hours, and it was probably the most boring. Like
I was like, I don't know what's happening. Y'all are talking about people that I've never heard about in my life. I thought we were here for Jesus,
My nieces,
but I
lately
loved
have
you guys
gone-
so much.
they have a really, really good friend who's Mormon, and she's invited them to like they have like dances at the church where like the boys have to ask the girls to dance and the girls can't say no.
they can't say no. Yep.
Which is cool.
And so they were like, they're raised by me. And so they're like, I didn't love. So I just kind of like always pretended to be busy. If a boy I didn't look like I was interested in started to come around, I would get deep in conversation. But she's like, I didn't love that I couldn't say no. But
Yeah.
they had like a great time. They were like, it was so much fun. Because when you grow up not Mormon, you think like, I don't know, you think like it's this big secret thing when now you know it's like every church is weird to people who don't go
Yeah.
there, you know? And so they're like, no, we had a blast. It was so fun. It was,
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know.
those Mormon youth dances, they were fun. They were fun and they were wild. They were
I
wild
can
in their
imagine.
own way.
All right, so we obviously I'm going to keep you forever, but not here forever because we promised we would let you go at some point. But we do have a couple questions that we always end with. This first one, you're going to forget everything that you have ever consumed. But we have a segment that we call Fictional Boyfriend of the Week, and where we pick a fictional character that we loved. It doesn't necessarily have to be a boyfriend. I've had a fictional granny. Mandy's had a fictional son. Do you have any fictional characters that you're just like, yes, I love them and everybody should know them?
Movies, TV, books.
Video
Right?
games?
Ask this question, and suddenly it's like, I've never
I've
read,
What's
never,
a
what is
I've
a book?
never heard
I've
of a
never
book.
heard of a
What
book
is,
in my life.
have I
What's
ever
a
even seen a
movie?
TV?
Oh,
I was not
okay.
fishing on Sundays. I never heard of a movie.
Yeah.
Um, ooh. I mean, I think I have to go back to the OGs of like Serpent and Dove.
Oh,
Reed is like
Yes.
my heart and soul. I love him. I I I I just love it when he like screams my wife the first time I like something died
Ah!
inside me. I was like, ah,
yes,
I got one
yes,
of my nieces
yes.
to read those, and she got to the
Oh,
very upsetting death, and she was at my house, and I just hear boom, 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 boom down the stairs, and I went and hid. And she
you're
came
like,
in, I'm
whoops.
like hiding, like I'm crouched
you're
down
like,
by
I
my
knew it was
bed.
coming. I gotta hide.
She was like, "How could you let me read this? How could you let me do this, knowing this was going to
Oh,
happen? You knew."
It's a canon event. You can interrupt.
right?
Oh,
Right? I made my husband read all those books. Like,
Yes.
he
oh
liked them. He
man.
liked them. And we talked about them a lot. But yeah, that I always go back to that book. Like when people are like, what's a good, real enemies to lovers book kind of thing. And I'm like, yes,
Yeah,
this is it. This is it.
Yeah,
I love it.
that's a good
It's a
example.
good one.
Okay, we know we're obsessed with your book. I'm gonna scream about it from the rooftops because I'm almost done and I'm so obsessed. But when you're not writing, what are you reading, or like what books do you recommend other than Serpent and
Serpent.
Dove?
So I read a lot of historical fiction, gothics, and actually a lot of nonfiction. Which I know some readers are like, nonfiction, get it away from me. But I think because I went back to grad school and I had to read so many books, I was just like consuming all of this really fascinating history. And so I've been reading a lot of like feminist history books. Right now, I'm reading a book called God Bless the Pill that comes out in April. So I have like an arc of it. And it is a woman talking about how, usually when we talk about the church and birth control, we talk about all these conservative churches that hated birth control, right? And were fighting against it. And she's talking about like, actually, there was a lot of more liberal churches that supported the birth control movement because they wanted to create these like respectable Cold War families. And so it's kind of like this opposite look of things you didn't really think about before, of how churches
Interesting.
actually helped legislation pass to support the
Oh,
birth control movement. And so I was like, see that like those are kind of things I think are super fascinating because it's like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would never think about that.
and they
Yeah.
get like swept under the rug of history being so vast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That sounds
That
amazing.
is so cool.
Okay, you kind of touched upon it earlier, but what comes next? What can you talk about? Any secrets you want to share?
I am super excited because I could talk about this now. My next book coming out is called The Glass Looker. And this book is a look at the early magic foundations of Mormonism in part, but mostly it's about this strange phenomena that happened in 1820s New York where people believed in seers, like this like folk magic belief that they could use magic rocks to find buried treasure that had been left by pirates.
Oh,
And so it is about a woman by the name of Sally Chase, a very real woman who was a renowned seer, glass looker is what they called them in her era and in her place. And her kind of like claim to fame, I guess, if you want to call one, is that she's actually the person who taught Joseph Smith, the Mormon prophet, how to use seer stones. Um,
Oh,
Oh.
so if she hadn't done that, there would be no Joseph Smith and there would be no Mormonism. And so this
whoa.
book is not as horror. It does have a little bit of some horror gothic elements to it because I love to write like some random blood into things always. But it's a little bit more speculative, witchy vibes. It's definitely more adventure and it has a very strong romance plot line as well, which I love. I'm obsessed with the male the male love interest. He's amazing. And I this book is really an examination of what happens to women in history who are forgotten because there is a man who took her place in history as being more important or more exciting or more interesting, right? But
Mhm.
I truly believe that Sally Chase is the foundation for this huge giant movement that now exists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
That,
it's my fictionalized look on her story. And
yeah.
I'm really excited for people to read it. It's going to be different than Fourth Wife, but kind of still in the same universe.
I'm so
I
excited.
can't wait.
I would like it now,
Yeah.
please.
Yes.
I'm working on edits right now.
Ugh,
Just a reminder that our inbox is always open.
yes. And Karen unfortunately does have some terrible
Jess,
news
it's
for
just
you.
awful news. Now that you have been on the podcast, you're actually legally obligated to come back for all future book releases.
Yay! I'm excited.
Yay! Amazing. Oh my gosh, this has been so much fun. I love catching up with you always. So by the time this episode airs, it'll be out. So everybody, go pick
Everybody,
up your copy
please. This is so
of The
good.
Fourth Wife.
It's
It's
so
so good.
good.
It's
I got
such
my
fun.
final copies. They're so
I know they're
pretty.
so pretty. I'm so
Ah,
excited. Everybody go pick up your copy. Seriously, right now. Go do it. It's so amazing.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Linda. I'm so glad we were finally able to do this.
Thank you for having me, making my little dream author dream come true, being on your podcast.
I'm pretty sure I might cry on Tuesday. I'm so excited for you. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, I have so many emotions. I don't know if I just got to make it to Tuesday at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for doing this. We have had so much fun.
I know my
thank you
face
for
hurts.
having me.
We will talk soon.
All right. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. I love her so much. I can see why you love her.
I
You hit the
love her
jackpot
so
as a
much.
roommate.
I love her. Okay, so fun fact, we were roommates so we went to the UC Santa Barbara, which is on the quarter system. So we had 3 quarters per year plus a summer like session. And
Uh-huh.
so we were roommates for a quarter.
Oh,
And because so we our second year of college, we decided we were going to be roommates the next year with our friend Katie, and we signed a lease on an apartment, and then we went home for the summer. And then she met her husband and fell in love.
uh-oh.
So she did come back to school because it was too late for her to transfer. But then for the following, I guess for them it was the semester, she transferred to BYU and to be with
Oh.
him. And I mean, it worked out. They ended up getting married. But we were technically roommates for a while there, for a few months. And it was a really fun and chaotic like time because we were just like hanging out and being like, okay, we do have to go to class, but like you're
Do
spending you're living with like two of your best friends, and it was
we?
such a good
Yeah.
time. And the best part was that we all had the same shoe size, so we could share shoes.
That's a dream.
It was amazing. Our shoes just like tripled in size because there were 3 of us, so we had sets of like shoes that we could just pick from because we all wore the same size.
One of the
It's
twins
amazing.
has the same size shoes as me, but I get concerned because they are teenage level of care
Ah,
and I
yes.
am an adult level of care. So they'll be like, hey, I know you just got Uggs. Could I borrow them? it's raining outside. And I'm like,
No,
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 no, no, you
that's not how that
can't.
works.
No, not today.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, it was a fun couple of months. And then she, had to go and be in love and all of that.
The worst.
Whatever. No, but they've been married since God, forever. It feels like forever.
I mean, I
Oh
got married in
gosh.
2011, so
Yeah, so I graduated college in 2010, so it would have been June 2010,
yeah, it's a
around
long
then.
time.
Yeah, that was, oh my God, I feel old.
We are, unfortunately.
I know. I
Next
will.
year would be my 20-year reunion.
Oh, you're right. You're right. It will
Mm-mm,
be.
I don't like that.
Oh no.
Don't like that at all.
I don't like that either.
Not a fan.
Ooh, no. Oh, so this is so completely random, but I somehow ended up on an alumni email list for Santa Clara University, a school that I've never attended, nor have I ever walked on that campus.
Oh,
And somehow I keep getting alumni emails. And then the most recent one was like, "Hi, Karen Joanna." I'm like, "Oh, it's not me."
yeah.
I don't know how you got my email, but it's not me.
Whoops.
But I was like, oh, it's funny because like I had considered going there at some point when I was, a teenager,
Yeah.
but I never actually went there. I don't think I ever actually applied. I never went to visit the campus. I have
I need you to
no,
respond and say, what are the alumni perks?
I know, right? Do I have anything that I can benefit
Do I
from
have
this?
access to the library there?
I would love to. Oh my
All
gosh. So fun. Okay. It's time for an
right. Let's
announcement.
announce something.
Yay! Okay, so next week we are talking to Monica Murphy about A Thousand Perfect Lies. I, for the longest time, kept saying A Thousand Perfect Lives because
That's because it's right there.
I know, but it actually is Lies because that's
Yeah.
the one on top. For some reason, I thought Lies was on the bottom. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention, but I'm excited. This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
Yay.
next week. Yay! And now it is time
Well,
for a
do a
spiel.
spiel. Yeah.
Yay! All right, friends. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, follow, and subscribe wherever you're listening to us. Follow us on social media. We are at The Incoherent Fangirl on all the things. Visit our website, theincoherentfangirl.com, where you can also stream all of our episodes as well as read our blog. Head over and subscribe to Patreon for early access to podcast episodes, full video episodes, bonus content, and the opportunity to ask questions of our guests before they come on. Yay! Exciting. I love that.
Cool stuff.
Head over to our merch store, theincoherentfangirl.com/shop. Get some cute stuff designed by Mandy because sometimes she gets bored with an iPad. And we benefit. Yay. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, design ideas you want to tell us that we're pretty, we will take all
We'll
of
take
that.
it.
In our inbox, theincoherentfangirl@gmail.com. We love hearing from y'all. And of course, one last way to support the podcast is to rate and review on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Please give us your
Give some
words.
words.
We love words here.
Yes.
She is at Mandy Perv on all the things.
She's at Ms. Made in China on all the things.
And once you followed us on social media and you followed the podcast on social media, you're going to head over and visit our internet besties, do some self-care because we love you and we want you to stick around forever. First stop, you're going to go to herecomesthenerd.com, use code fangirl, and you'll get 20% off your first order.
Second, you're going to go to onceuponabookclub.com. You're going to subscribe. You can get some standalone boxes, regular random goodies that they may have. And you're going to use code Karen10 for 10% off. But if you spell Karen wrong, we're going to make you move to a super haunted house with a bunch of strangers that you don't know what their intentions are. And the house is going to start like breathing and it's going to be really weird and scary. And you're going to dream about blood. You're going to dream about blood a lot.
Real creepy.
Spell Karen right. We're trying to save you.
We are. All right, next up, you're going to head over and visit our friend Amber D. Lewis at amberdlewis.com. Add 10, 20, 50, I don't know, many things into your cart. You're going to use code fangirl10 and then you'll get 10% off of the many things, which I'm pretty sure means you've saved money, like a ton of it.
Yeah.
100%.
Free if you buy
For
enough.
sure. Exactly.
And last but not least, you can support my family. You can follow the show husband. He's at Born a Josh on all the things. Follow at Searchers Believe on all the things. That's his paranormal investigation group. You can go to searchersbelieve.com/shop and use code fangirl10 for 10% off of more merch designed by me because I get bored with an iPad sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You can follow at Searchers Podcast on all the things. That's where we talk about all kinds of weird legends and lore. We need to pick that back up. We haven't recorded in a while. And then the big one is Beacon TV. So we have a streaming platform that is paranormal horror, true crime centric. We have a new show dropping a week ago for you, tomorrow for us. And it's a behind the scenes of paranormal mysteries. So definitely go follow at Stream Beacon TV on all the things. I am social media now, so we really need to show them how great the Beacon social media is doing. And you can subscribe at streambeacontv.com. And if you use code fangirl10 there, you'll get 10% off of your subscription. And then last but not least, I wrote a book. It's called The Living and the Dead. It's about a girl who was born a ghost but ages like the living, and the Reaper who finds her and who would die to get her to look at him. I think it's okay.
I
I'm
think it's
working on book
wonderful.
2. Thank you. I'm working on book 2. It's going to be a lot of pain. I can already tell you. It's painful so far. But if you'd like a copy, I'm on all the major retailers' websites. Or if you'd like a signed copy, you can get one at aepurvis.com. If you use code Aaron Warner, you'll get 10% off of your purchase. No one knows about this. Like, I never post this online, by the way. Like, I've never said a word because you have to listen to the spiel to know about this. And it wouldn't be me if I didn't make something about Aaron Warner. So
Of
Aaron Warner gets
course.
10% off. So,
And
and I
that
guess that
was
was
the
the
Incoherent
Incoherent
Fangirl.
Fangirl.
Thanks for
Thank
listening. We
you.
love
We
you.
love you. Bye.
Bye.
We are sponsored by our friends at Here Comes the Nerd. Pins, stickers, magnets, and more. Here Comes the Nerd has happy art for all fandom-loving hearts. New customers can use coupon code FANGIRL during checkout for 20% off their first order at herecomesthenerd.com. Coupon applies to ready-to-ship items only.